There's no reason for us in this church not to know the power of transformation. There is no reason for any one of us in this church this morning not to know that we can open our hearts and our lives up to something new right now without having to wait until we leave and find somewhere else. Because the Holy Spirit is present here this morning. She woke us up, shook us up, got us here this morning so that we might hear the good news that there is yet more for us to do and more of us to come. I'm going to tell you, sisters and brothers, this whole Prop 8 thing has been so tiring. So tiring. March here, rally there. Yesterday, many of us were in Fresno for Meet in the Middle, and we met in the middle, and we rallied, and we spoke, and we listened, and we didn't march. 5 hours of speeches. Sometimes I wonder where we find these people from to come and speak. That doesn't mean that they didn't have something to say. They had a lot to say. But sisters and brothers, that our church and us as a people must be about more than marriage. There are so many injustices going on in our world. There are so many things that we need to be focused on. Yeah, marriage is important, don't get me wrong. It's very important. Very important. But it feels like sometimes that we've just been so focused on that one issue, and I'm just as much to guilt to blame than all the other issues that are going on in our world. I believe that as a church, we're being called to be a church of justice and equality for all people, and not just around marriage. But justice for our women. For our women who have the right taken away from them to choose over and over again. Justice for our folks in this community and in other communities who are living with HIV and AIDS and who are having money stripped out of the state government taxes so that they will not be able to afford medications anymore. I want to tell you, I'm going to say this, and I know that this gets broadcast on the internet, but that is nothing short than murder. Yes. Nothing short than murdering our friends who are living with HIV and AIDS if they take away vital medications that they can no longer survive and they will die. In a country that we call ourselves civilized, there's nothing civilized about that. That is killing our people. And we should be angry, righteously angry. ADAP? They think they're going to take away ADAP? So that the poorest of the poor will have no way of getting those medications? That needs a double portion of the Holy Spirit. That should get our dry bones up and out and doing something in the world. Justice for all. What about those in Iraq and Iran who just say that they might be gay? And they can legally be put to death. We think we've got it hard. When we sometimes put our lives in the context of the global community, we realize that, we've got some things to do, but actually we're doing okay. And the steps towards justice is one step in front of the next. It doesn't always come in the big things that we would like it to, but we take it one step at a time. That's what our African American sisters and brothers have taught us. And we need to honor not only their history, but we honor the fact that we stand in their line of that history, one step at a time. Just getting up in the morning and putting a foot in front of the other is enough. Equality and justice for all. We need to be a church that speaks the truth by the power of the Holy Spirit so that our dry bones can get reinvigorated, changed around, messed up a bit, turned upside down so that we can truly get out into the streets where the people are and speak in our languages so that they will come to know us and to know the truth that lies within our lives and within our bodies. Those who are going to be most affected by many of these cuts are going to be our African American brothers and sisters and our Latinos and those who have some immigration issues in this country. I wonder what it'd be like if we truly became a church of refuge here. Not just a church of respectability, but a church of refuge. I wonder how many email letters of support I would get from you if we truly offered refuge in this congregation. Because sometimes we're tempted to be respectable too. We don't want to be in the public face. Actually, if you didn't want to be in the public face, you picked the wrong pastor. But sometimes we just want to go under the radar. And yet sometimes we might be asked to be above the radar. What would it be like if we gave out medical marijuana to those who are hurting? And know that here in Los Angeles, a lot of those places are being closed down by the feds. What would it be like? I'm not saying I'm doing it. Just posing the question. I wonder how many people would stop coming because we were no longer just the respectable gay church, but we were the disrespectable queer church that talks about justice and equality for all people and meeting the needs of all people wherever they happen to be at. Your women will dream dreams. Your old and young alike will see visions and they'll see the world differently. That's what the Holy Spirit does to us. We see the world differently. And because we see the world differently, we must act differently. So in these next months, years, however long you keep me here, before you boot me out for being too risque, or for being too radical, or for being too inclusive, or for being too queer, or for being too whatever, I want to pray that we allow the Holy Spirit to speak to us this morning and to ask us truly as a church, as a people, how can we really be the human rights church, the place of equality, of justice, a place where we listen to spirit more than we listen to tradition, a place where we stir it up rather than let it settle down. That's the church of Jesus Christ. That's the church of Jesus. This past week, as we've been in preparation for Pentecost and all that's been going on, I've been praying a prayer for myself, and it's the chorus, we all know it. Spirit of the living God, fall afresh on me. Melt me, mold me, use me, whatever is it you need to do. I want to pray not only as a church leadership, but as a board of directors and every ministry that happens in our church, that we would pray that before we do anything, so that we can be convinced here in this church that what we're doing is not at the whim of some pastor coming up with a vision, but is the Holy Spirit prompting us to do whatever we need to do whatever we need to do. And we're in it together. God's blessing upon you this morning. Spirit of the living God, fall afresh on each and every one of us. May we see dreams and be bold in our visions. May we prophesy. May we speak in tongues. May we await your interpretation. And may we truly know that each and every one of us, that the true manifestation of the Holy Spirit is how we live our lives and how it raises itself up to the presence of the holy.